Hello, friends. My name is Jim Lavender, and I'm the pastor of Corinth United Methodist Church in the low hills of the Virginia Hunt Country in Goochland County. And so we are at my house today. We live on a small farm, Bear Creek Farm, and we're out in the barn. And I've chosen to be here today in my rocking chair with my collection of palm branches that I'm using as a bookmark for my Bible. And we're going to have a visit that I call the Sunday morning Palm Sunday message, that is a simplified version for those who are listening at home during the national isolation as a result of the virus that has taken over the world. So this is how we are communicating with friends of all ages, our children as well as our adults. And so you'll see in a minute why we have this little message in the barn. The message comes from the 21st chapter of Matthew's Gospel, because that is where we hear the story of Jesus pulling some disciples aside and saying, "Go into the neighboring village, and there you will find a donkey tied or tethered to the post. And when you find it, take it and bring it to me. And if anybody says, 'Why are you taking the donkey?' say, 'The Lord hath need of it.'" Now, that animal that the disciples brought to Jesus was a Sicilian donkey. And we have one right here. I'm going to fix it so that you can see her. I'm going to move the camera a little bit, so bear with me. I'm not a professional cameraman. But I would like for you to meet Jill the donkey. And there she is. Jill the donkey, Sicilian donkey, been with us for years. And on her back, there is a cross that is a genetic trait in her pelt. And so all Sicilian donkeys have that cross on their back. And so I wanted you to meet her. She has met children and church folks for years and years and years, as we have told this story about Palm Sunday and Jesus and the donkey. Now, why a donkey? Well, you see, in the day of Jesus, the Sicilian donkey and the camel were pretty much the mainstays of transportation, and they were also used for moving freight from one place to another. There were horses, but primarily you saw camels and little donkeys. Now, a donkey in that day was more like a Cadillac today. They were priceless. But the camel, now that would have been the Rolls Royce. Very few people had those. Some of the Bedouins who lived out in the desert had many camels that they used for various agricultural purposes. But the little Sicilian donkey has always been this symbol of Jesus entering the holy city in the build-up to his trial, arrest, crucifixion, and resurrection. And so I wanted to have this little visit with you for just a moment today as we build up to Palm Sunday. You see, this collection of people in the street who came to see Jesus enter the city, they knew that he was coming. Jesus, to some of them, was an object of entertainment. Some were just no more than spectators who wanted to see Jesus. They were curious. There were others who were somewhat sarcastic, and they did not buy in to his message nor his story. How sad. But thirdly, there were also people who had decided to invest in the gift of Christ to the world. Those are the people whom God depends upon to share that story to this very day. Now, as the people gathered along the edge of the streets, you know the story. They took off their outer clothing, garments and such, and put them down on the stones in the street for the donkey to walk over. And some of them put down the palm branches like these that I have right here. Palm branches were quite valuable in one way, that they provided shade, and shade is rare in that part of the world. So they took palm branches that were important to the community, and they put those down for the donkey to walk over as well. Consequently, we have them in church on Palm Sunday, all across the Church of Jesus Christ. So as he came into the city, there were those who actually bought in to what Jesus had to say. They were ready. They were prepared to begin the march toward discipleship. And so the road was lined with different kinds of people Like that parable about the seed. It's fallen on rock, it's fallen on briars, it's fallen on fertile soil. Same story. And some of the people listened and some did not. Those who did became his disciples. It was quite a story. Now, at the end of the entry into the holy city, then we had the sequence of events that led up to the trial of Jesus, his resurrection at the Garden of Gethsemane, his trial, and then his sentencing in court, and he was sent up the Via Dolorosa, carrying his own cross to his own crucifixion. And then following that, of course, is the great miracle of the resurrection. It is everything to Christian believers. There is nothing bigger. And this is where we come to accept him in our soul. Our souls are always in need. Yours is in need right now. Unless things are perfect, you need some more Jesus. He is ready to help you, to touch you, to cleanse you, and to take care of all the things that you're facing. Worry does not help. Truth is narrow, but God's grace is quite broad. My friend J.R. Snow, who's at James Madison University and the Harrisonburg City Schools, shared that this week in one of his brilliant messages about leadership, that faith is narrow. Friends, how about your faith? Faith is a choice. You have to decide if you want to have faith or if you don't. And hanging in the balance with that and arguing about it is of no value whatsoever. Sitting around in a dark pub with something to drink that you really don't need, arguing about your faith is of no value. But if you want to talk about your soul, that's where Jesus wants to work. So I'm asking you on this week of Palm Sunday, if you will consider allowing the Christ to come into your life, to actually make a difference, to do something extraordinary that will make a difference not only for you, but also for all that you come into contact with. Friends, America and the world is facing an extraordinary crisis right now, as you know. All of us are asked to stay at home, to not leave home, unless it's an emergency, because of these terrible virus germs that are all over the world killing people. We don't even know how big it's going to get. But God is bigger than this problem. It will pass. So I ask you to be a people of faith and to hold fast. When Christ enters our lives again this week, let him in. Would you pray with me? Gracious God, bless all those who are with us today. I pray that you would touch every home, transform every house into a home, transform every church into a great ambulance place where we rush people to your feet and their souls are remade. We lift this whole world up to you today in the holy name of Jesus. Amen. Friends, I'll be back to visit with you again. It may be in the barn and it may be in the house. I don't know yet. But I'll be back at least once a week, if not more often, to share another message with me. You'll find notifications on Facebook. I'll also email those of you whose email that I have. And you're all welcome to see and to share these little messages. God bless. We love you. Have a good evening.